Buenos Dias Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Like a mother. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. The remix. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a mother. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye-up. Bye-up. As you can tell by that thumbnail right there, yes indeed, we're about to get it in. And as you can tell, usually every day, I talk about a specific subject. Today, I wanted to talk about a big misconception. Oh, yes, indeed. We're going to write graffiti on the bus in a menudo style or direct fashion. I'm going to give you the rundown. I'm going to give you the real, man. I'm tired of the he said, she said. I'm tired of the nonsense. I'm tired of the cagada. I'm tired of the mierda that is being spewed from individuals' mouths concerning this subject. I'm going to give it to you righteously. As you can see by that thumbnail right there, there's a whole bunch of güeros. Real ones, man. Real wood pile, real white boys, right? On the other side is a gang of Africanos, man. So let's get on swole status, right? And the big misconception in prison is that these two groups are always at war. Quite contrary to what people may believe, this is not the case. Okay, I've never seen, personally, myself, a melee concerning Africanos and güeros. Just never seen it, you know. Maybe I wasn't at the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the right time. Either way, I've never seen this supposed war that has been going on since the 50s and 60s. Now, I will say it's an unspoken soft stance, meaning it's people are basically on a half 60, meaning they're taking a defensive stance. Now with this end of hostilities going on, I'm sure things have changed. Certain individuals of a high stature are programming and functioning on these yards together. So things are different. But back in my days when I was incarcerated, I was locked up in penitentiaries and prisons on yardas, on 4 yards and 3 yards. Oh my, right? I never once witnessed not one altercation concerning whites and blacks. So there's a big elephant in the room. There always has been. Everyone says California is based on politics. The yardas, the prisons are based on politics. And that's a fact. Okay, that's a fact. Everything is political. You stick with your own gente. You stick with people that you're most, you know what I mean? People that you adapt to and people that are just like you, come from the same area, same circumstances, same everything. But at the same time, what you need to also understand is that over the years, there's always been this big stigma or this big fucking unspoken rule that whites and blacks are constantly at war. They're on opposite sides of the yard. The get down is real. It's on site. It's constant challenge. That is not the case. I've been on several yardas, especially Susanville, which we consider the White House because the Skins and the Woods were the more dominant and predominant group there. But at the same time, there was never an issue with the Africanos. Okay, there was never too much of an issue. More so, I've seen Africanos go at it with each other. I've seen Woods have internal confrontation amongst each other between Skins and Woods. I've seen more red on red or south on south before I've seen whites and blacks get off. Now, like I said, I've been in a lot of different places, a lot of different yards, all the way from YA on back. And I never once really seen too much confrontation between black and whites unless it was personal. As far as a group notion, as far as a group movement, Charlie, man, both of these groups have their own ways of wiggling. Okay, whereas the whites, the Woods are a little bit more structured. I will say this, I keep it real. They're a little bit more structured in their dealings. The way they conduct themselves is very professional. They're about that action at any time. Oh yes, you see the white boys out there on the yarda. They're functioning, they're working out, they're on their bars, they're doing their workouts. They're doing what they have to do to stay ready for any type of war if it does pop off. Now I've seen more south with whites and north with whites before I've seen black and whites. So I was talking to a youngster the other day, right? And he was like, yeah, bro, so let me know what's up with prison. I already know the blacks and whites get off all the time. That's right off the top. You know, polar opposites. And I said, well, who said that? He said, well, you know, I mean, so good. That's what I've been hearing. I said, well, who you been hearing it from? You know, no, just like I've seen movies, I've seen shit. You know what I mean? I know what's up. I know what's up. And I said, nah, Charlie, bro, I'm going to tell you right now, straight up, Holmes, I don't know who told you what or what told you who, but I'm telling you right now, that's not what I see. Now, I've been a lot of places, and I've never seen whites and blacks get off like that. What I have seen is people stay on the opposite sides of the yard, function with their own people, do their own program, do their own thing. Now, I understand a lot of people get the misconception that right off the top, blacks and whites are the groups that hate each other the most. Charlie, Holmes. Will they be doing any willing and dealing? Will they be kicking back on the yard together, sun tanning, sabes que, playing handball, and fucking pinching each other's butts? Charlie, that's never been the case, and they never will do that. But I will tell you this right off the rip, right off the top. As far as the fucking war going on in state prison, it's non-existent really. You know, I think both of these groups regulate their groups to the point where they already know better than to go do something. Now, I have seen a couple incidences where blacks were involved, and I have seen a couple of incidences where white boys were involved. And I'm going to tell you one thing about the blacks right now. They don't play, bro. They don't play. They don't regulate their group as much as any other group, meaning they're not as structured or as political based as they were, say, in the 60s with the Black Panthers and the Black Guerrilla family, you know, the Jama. But nowadays, Vatos will handle their business. They will happen to handle their business anytime, any place, anywhere. That's a fact. I've programmed on many yards alongside of the Africanos. There's always been that loose alliance between the North and the Africanos, and that's just the way it is. So I've been able to chop it up, familiarize myself with a lot of Vatos from Oakland, from LA, and I know a lot of their hoods and a lot of their values, man. Respects to all the, you know, the Kumis in the Bay, and respects to the 415ers, respects to all the Africano Crips, the Sangres, oh my, and everyone that's wiggling in that fashion. And also on the same token, man, I've also chopped it up in the Oyo a lot of times with white boys. And I will say this, man, respects go to them Woods, because them Woods, man, being outnumbered as much as they are, they handle their business. They're down for whatever, they're down for their cause. But as far as this big misconception that everyone talks about this war that goes on constantly, and they see it in movies, and whites and blacks, and they're getting off on each other, Charlie, man. Any real one that's been down will tell you, it's not like that. It's not like that. These guys self-regulate each other. These guys let their groups know that, okay, you already know them. White boys are on the other side of the yard. The Africanos, they're on the other side of the yard. Let them do their thing, homie. Unless it becomes a situation where everyone has to get involved, well, then so be it. But for the most part, it's never going to come to that. And I'm going to tell you why it usually never comes to that. There's no willing and dealings. See, in prison, it's all about who you associate yourself with and who you familiarize yourself with. If you're over there kicking it with certain individual, gambling, playing cards, handball, basketball, whatever the case may be, then you're open for some type of conflict. Okay, but if you never chop it up with somebody and they're on the other side of the yard, it doesn't mean that you hate them or that you have disrespect coming toward them. It just means that you never are associated. So with less association comes less turmoil. With less turmoil comes less problems. With less problems comes less fucking fools having hands put on them and people getting hit in the neck with pedazos. That's just the way it is. Same thing goes for norteños and sureños. You know, the same youngster told me, man, I know the homeboys be getting off on the sureños. I said, was that right? Well, who told you that? Well, so I heard it through the grapevine. Well, let me tell you, homie, that grapevine is all fucked up, because I'm here to tell you right now, again, I ain't never seen it, right? I will tell you that, yes, everybody knows on them yards that North and South traditionally have been at war prior to this end of hostilities for several decades. Okay, but it's a respect thing. When Chicanos come into play, when Mexicanos come into play, when Vatos that are very fucking professional and carry themselves in a certain fashion come into play, man, things ain't gonna happen like you think. When shit happens, oh, it really happens. It goes down. If the yard goes down, believe someone just got hit with a motherfucking tennis ball. Oh my, right? They got booked. Okay, and usually it's your own people doing it. Okay, it's taking out the trash, it's cleaning up basura on the yard. It's getting rid of motherfucking individuals that done fucked up and they shouldn't have been there. And now it's time for them to get their ass on, kick down that yellow brick road. That's just part of the game. It's part of the penitentiary. It's part of prison. Okay, any yard you go to, when you're given a directive to handle business, usually it's within your own circle. Usually the motherfuckers that are more familiar with you are going to be the ones that poke you a little bit. A little scrapey never hurt nobody, right? So I was scared, unless you're the one getting scraped. Now, at the same time, this same youngster was like, bro, and I was like, listen, sit down here. I'm so disgusted with you, I don't know what to do. My first impulse was to run up on you and do the Rambo, right? He was a good, young, striving Anner or Northerner, Norteño. At the same time, I wanted to give him the real rundown. He was one of my little nephew's homeboys, and he was like, so how can you tell me, homie, you ain't bet the wind's blowing, homie. You know what I mean? Your teeth's about to be blowing too if you don't calm down. So I was like, sit down, let me give you, my little nephew, and his few little primos the rundown. Now here's the rundown. These are the facts, homie. This is how it really goes down in the penitentiary and prison. ¿Sabes qué? Watch out. Vatos come into the yarda, you identify your group. If you're a white boy, you're going to kick it with the woods. You know what I mean? They're going to decide, check your paperwork, and do whatever they have to do to make it necessary for you to kick it with that group if you're in good standings and so on and so forth. If you're an Africano, they have their ways of wiggle, right? They're going to identify what group you're from. If you're a Sangre, if you're a Kripa, if you're a Kumi, Jama, Omai, whatever you may be, Muslim, and you're going to kick it with that circle, with that carro. Okay, with the Norteños, we're all sticking together at this point. So, sabes que, come into the fold, be embraced with canalismo. Of course, if you got good paperwork, man, if the embracement is real, then you're within the household. And sabes que, all the directives and everything that you need to know will be told to you at that particular set time. Sabes que, you might just be there to kick him back, homie, but you're still manpower. You're a soldado. You're there to defend the casa and keep that foundation going. At the same time, man, don't trip, homie. When it's time to trip, motherfuckers will let you know. Of course, now, if you're Asian, if you're Polynesian, that's another car. Of course, they do their thing as well. No car is slipping. Not the Paisas, not the Polynesians, not the motherfucking Iranians. Everyone on that yard is watching everyone, and everyone is about their business and ready to handle business. But this big fucking misconception of everything's always at war. Vatos are stabbing each other. Chale. Yes, vatos are getting booked. But maybe that was in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Nowadays, things have changed. See, gangbanging has took a different turn and a different twist, especially on yardas in prison. Whatever happens on the streets is different, homies. Within them walls, within them cages, within that motherfucking barbed wire realm, things are totally different. They're ran a different way. Okay, they're very political. You kick it with your own, you mind your own, and you shut the fuck up. And that's it. You know, ain't nobody talking when I'm talking, fellas, so shut the fuck. That's right. He was dead on. Ain't nobody talking when the next man is talking. You hear everyone out. You carry yourself that way you don't get carried out. Period. You know, so when these youngsters are telling me about American me and blood in, blood out and Schwaber, and all this shit, hey, entra. These are the streets, homie. Charlie, homie, these ain't the streets, homie. This is prison. Okay, prison, you carry yourself different. You don't disrespect the opposition. You don't disrespect the enemiga. Now, you might feel some type of way because some vato done blasted your brother around the way, but sabes que? There's a time and a place for everything. This ain't the time nor the fucking place. This is the place for you to play your fucking place right. This is the time for you to play your cards right. You know, because there's a lot of things going on them yardas that maybe you're not necessarily involved in, but they involve you, homie, or your people. So what you need to do is keep your mouth shut, your eyes open, so your ears wide open, and pay attention to the atmosphere and what's going on around you. Because the wind blows on the yarda, and you can tell when something's going down. You can feel the electricity in the air. Oh, I've been there. I've done that, and I've seen it. You know, I've participated. What I can say, though, is, and that's why I wanted to put the Africanos and the Güeros on the thumbnail, because it's been told to me many a times, but these youngsters were like, Charlie, bro, how you going to tell us? I said, fuck it. I'll just show you, right? It's crazy. You know, it's crazy when people think, obviously, that these guys are killing each other left and right. Now, maybe in the federal prison system with the DC blacks and the AB, it's a little bit different. You know, they're at a fucking vicious war that's been ongoing for years, and bodies are getting clipped left and right. But as far as state prison, and I'm talking about California state prison. I'm not talking about any other states, because obviously I can't speak on that because I ain't really been there and done that. But I will say in California, it's a place where you carry yourself with fucking a whole lot of professionalism, and you carry yourself righteous. So if there's vatos on the other side of the yarda and you know they're your enemy guys, you leave them where they're at. You know, you have your own handball court, homes. You stay in twos and you walk that motherfucking track, homie. You don't stop in front of the enemy guys or the opposition's area, because that's going to pose a threat to their safety and security, and they're going to get off where you stand at. And more than likely, homie, you're going to come up short. Unless you're going over there with the intentions to hit someone and kick it off on the yarda, well, then shit happens. You know, so a lot of people, they get that misconception, you know, just like these youngsters did. And I had to run them down and give them the real. You know, and after the conversation, there was still one that looked skeptical. You know what I mean? So I snatched him up by his ear, pulled him to the side. And he got some get right? Can't get right. Utterly like the movie Life. But the rest of them were like, okay, I see it. I see how it is. I said, listen, man, here's the fucking quick rundown in 10 seconds. Just mind your own business. Stick with your own gente. Period. You know, am I one of those ones, not a true believer in the uniting of people? Yes, of course. That's my narrative. That's what I push. I believe everybody's the same. Everyone should be treated with respect and the same. But respect is always that key word. It's always that word used when you're in prison. especially in the California prison system where things are drawn along racial and political lines. But that doesn't mean just because the motherfuckers are the opposition or someone else or of a different race that you automatically get off on them. If the directive is on site, then of course it is on site. When the vatos hit the yada, come through the gate or the sally port, yes, you take flight because that's the issue that you guys have at that point in time. But sabes que, if it's a soft stance and you're just kicking back, a soft defensive stance, then that's what you do, half 60. If it's full 60, full go, then you go. But for the most part, in all the years that I've done incarcerated, but besides personal beefs, I've never seen a black and white issue, and I've never really seen a north and south issue. Now, I did see an issue where homeboys almost came to blows with Southsiders, and sabes que, it was talked out amongst the people it needed to be talked out amongst. And that's because it was a big fucking mistake. Vatos were saying he said, she said, Vatos were saying this, Vatos were saying that. And of course, smarter heads prevailed. Vatos were able to talk out the issue. We're grown men. See, people don't realize that we're still grown men. Grown men that are very educated and know what time it is, especially in the prison life. You know what I mean? Know that shit can get serious fast. So the best thing to do in prison is to talk it out before you really have to walk it out. Because when it has to come to that, and vatos are going to stay getting hit on the yada, it's just an ugly situation. Anyways, with that being said, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, mind your own or your own will remind you. Yeah. It gets ugly. Anyways, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. You get everything that your family wants. You get everything that you want coming to you, man. It's all about that. The hustle is real, man. With that being said, I hope that you go out there and you do it for your familia. If you like this, please hit that like and subscribe. If you don't, you can hit that thumbs down. Heavy as the head that wears the crown. Gun's going to continue to do what I do right here on Gunners Collective. I got a boom banger coming right there on Gunners Profiles, and I got a boom banger coming right here mañana. Bang, bang. It is what it is. That's just a misconception, bro. They got it all fucked up.